It begins with the cowboy riding along a dusty, sun-baked trail on the outskirts of a small frontier town, a routine end to his long day spent tending cattle and repairing fences. As he rounds a bend near the creek that marks the edge of the town, his sharp eyes catch movement a small, fragile figure huddled close to the ground. Drawing nearer, he sees a widow and her 3 children. Their clothes ragged and worn, faces pale and streaked with dirt, hands trembling as they scavenge scraps of food from a refuse pile. The scene strikes him with a mix of shock and a heavy pang of empathy. These people are not merely poor, they are on the verge of starvation, abandoned and overlooked by the very community that should have protected them. The youngest child clutches a torn doll, the only comfort in a world that has given them nothing, while the older ones try in vain to divide meager scraps among themselves, sharing equally but still hungry. The widow's eyes meet his for a brief moment, wary and defensive, a mixture of fear and pride that refuses to beg openly. In that instant, the cowboy feels a moral responsibility ignite within him, a calling that transcends mere charity. He cannot turn away, cannot allow the harshness of life to claim them entirely. The wind stirs, carrying the scent of the creek and dry earth, and the cowboy dismounts, approaching slowly, speaking softly to avoid startling them. He offers them a small portion of food from his saddlebag, a gesture of kindness, but also a promise, a silent declaration that he will not abandon them. The widow hesitates, uncertainty and distrust evident in her posture. Yet the desperation in her children's eyes speaks louder than words, softening the barrier of fear. The cowboy realizes that action is required, that mere pity will not suffice. He resolves, in that moment, to intervene in their lives, to offer not just sustenance, but shelter, security, and dignity. This encounter, simple in appearance yet profound in impact, marks the turning point where their fates intersect, setting in motion a journey that will carry them away from despair and toward hope. And it is here on the sunlit trail beside the creek that the seeds of a new life are quietly planted. If you want, I can also create a vivid version with sensory details and dialogue to make part 1 read like a cinematic opening scene. After observing the widow and her children, the cowboy approaches them with care, aware of their fear and mistrust of strangers. He speaks in a calm, reassuring voice, offering what little food he carries and simple words of comfort. The widow is hesitant, unsure if this man is genuinely kind or just another passerby who will leave them to struggle again. The children cling to their mother, eyes wide with curiosity and suspicion, yet also hungry for hope. The cowboy gently explains that he has a Homer ranch not far from here where they can be safe, warm and fed, where no one will turn them away or let them go hungry. He promises protection and a place to start anew, emphasizing that they will be treated with dignity and care. After a tense moment of silence, the widow, recognizing the sincerity in his eyes and the kindness in his offer, finally nods, agreeing to trust him despite her fears. He instructs her to gather their meager belongings, pack what they can carry, and prepare to leave immediately. The decision is momentous. It marks the first step toward a life far removed from the hunger and hardship that have defined their existence. The cowboy's offer is more than just a chance at survival, is an invitation to hope, a lifeline extended in a harsh, unforgiving world, and it sets the stage for the transformative journey that lies ahead.
With the widow and her children following closely, the cowboy leads them away from the outskirts of the town and toward his ranch, navigating the uneven trails and open fields of the frontier. The journey is quiet at first, the children clinging nervously to their mother's skirts, glancing at the cowboy with a mixture of curiosity and caution. He walks beside them, offering small reassurances and gentle conversation, asking their names and learning little details about their lives, slowly building trust. Along the way, nature tests them. A swollen creek must be crossed. A fallen tree blocks the path, and a sudden gust of wind reminds them of the wilderness's unpredictability. Despite these obstacles, the cowboy remains calm and steady, guiding them carefully and ensuring that no harm comes to the family. The children begin to sense safety in his presence, their initial fear softening into tentative hope. He shares stories of his own life, tales of resilience and the small joys found in the vast open land, demonstrating that life can be harsh yet still hold moments of comfort and beauty. The widow walks beside him, her burdened mind gradually easing as she witnesses the cowboy's unwavering dedication to their well-being. Each step they take away from the town's neglect toward the promise of the ranch symbolizes a shift, not just in location, but in their lives, moving from despair to the possibility of security and belonging. By the time the sun begins to dip toward the horizon, casting golden light across the fields, a quiet bond has begun to form between the cowboy and the family, one built on trust, kindness, and the unspoken understanding that their journey together is only just beginning. As the family crests the final hill, the cowboy's modest ranch comes into view, nestled in a quiet valley surrounded by rolling hills and open pastures. The children gasp softly at the sight of the sturdy wooden house, the fenced paddocks, and the horses grazing peacefully, while the widow's eyes fill with a mix of relief and disbelief. After so long of surviving on scraps, this place feels almost unreal. The cowboy greets them with a warm smile, opening the gate and guiding them inside, showing them a hearth crackling with fire, a table already set with simple but plentiful food, and rooms prepared for them to rest and sleep without fear. The children tentatively explore, their small feet padding across clean floors, their laughter bubbling up as they discover the comforts of a safe home. The widow, though still cautious, feels the tension in her shoulders ease as she witnesses the tangible security and kindness extended to them. The cowboy walks them through the routines of the ranch, pointing out where chores will be done, the boundaries of the property, and the responsibilities that will come with their new life, always speaking gently and with patience. In this moment, the widow realizes that this is more than shelter. It is a chance to rebuild, to restore dignity and stability for herself and her children. The ranch, with its warmth, open space, and steady rhythm, represents a safe haven from the hardships they have endured, place where trust can be nurtured and a family can begin to heal. As night falls, the family settles near the fire, the children curled up with contented sighs and the widow quietly thanks the cowboy, understanding that his choice to intervene has set them on a path toward hope and belonging that they never imagined possible. Life at the ranch begins to take on a comforting rhythm as the widow and her children adjust to their new surroundings. The widow slowly learns the routines of the household, preparing meals, tending small chores, and managing the daily upkeep of the home, while the cowboy provides guidance but never intrudes, allowing her to regain a sense of independence and pride. The children explore the open fields and barns, discovering the animals and the land with wide-eyed wonder, and even begin to take on small responsibilities like feeding the chickens or gathering firewood, which instills a sense of purpose and belonging. Days are filled with work, but also moments of quiet joy. Laughter echoes through the house as the children play games in the yard. The widow hums softly while cooking, and the cowboy quietly observes, satisfied to see the family thriving. Over time, small routines, shared meals, evening talks by the fire, and lessons about the land forge bonds of trust and connection. The widow begins to relax, her shoulders lighter, her smile more frequent, and the children, once timid and wary, now run freely and confidently through the pastures. Though scars of past hardship linger in their hearts, the safety, stability, and kindness offered by the cowboy's home allow them to begin healing. The ranch, once just a place of work for the cowboy, now becomes a sanctuary where love, care, and resilience are nurtured, and where the family can slowly transform their fear and uncertainty into hope and belonging. In this new life, they are no longer merely surviving, they are living, growing, and learning to trust in the promise of brighter days. Even as the widow and her children begin to feel safe and settled, the outside world tests their newfound stability. Townsfolk whisper and speculate about why the cowboy has taken in a widow and her children, some suspicious, others openly judgmental, questioning his motives and the family's place in the community. Rumors spread, and the widow feels the sting of old insecurities returning, wondering if she and her children will ever truly be accepted. Meanwhile, the cowboy must assert his role as protector, standing firm against any threats or disrespect, making it clear that no harm will come to those under his care. Simultaneously, the widow faces her own inner challenges, grappling with memories of loss, the weight of survival, and the lingering fear of trusting someone entirely again. The children, sensitive to tension, cling closer to both the cowboy and their mother, unsure how to navigate the undercurrents of suspicion and unspoken judgments. Through these trials, the family learns resilience, leaning on one another for strength. The cowboy's steadfast presence becomes an anchor, his quiet courage and unwavering support reinforcing that they are no longer alone in facing adversity. Slowly, they begin to understand that challenges, both external and internal, are part of the journey toward a secure, loving life, and that by facing them together, they can endure hardships that once seemed insurmountable. As days turn into weeks, the relationships between the cowboy, the widow, and her children deepen, transforming from mere survival into genuine affection and trust. Shared experiences tending the land, caring for the animals, cooking meals, and quiet evenings by the fire create a rhythm that binds them together. The widow begins to rely on the cowboy not only for protection, but also for companionship, feeling a warmth and understanding she hasn't experienced since before her hardships. The children, once timid and wary, now run freely across the pastures, laughing and playing as the cowboy teaches them to ride horses, mend fences, and even tell stories of the land, their fear replaced by curiosity and confidence. Small gestures, a helping hand, a reassuring word, or a gentle smile build a foundation of love and respect, and the family starts to feel whole again. Emotional walls slowly crumble as the widow opens her heart, recognizing that the cowboy's presence brings stability and hope, and the cowboy himself feels a profound sense of responsibility and affection. Realizing that protecting this family has become more than duty, it is a deep personal bond. Through shared triumphs and quiet moments, trust blossoms into love, and the family, once broken by circumstance, begins to understand the strength and beauty of connection, loyalty, and mutual care. By the end of this stage, the ranch no longer feels like just a home, it is a place of belonging, of laughter, of healing, and of love in its simplest and most enduring form. With the passing of seasons, the widow, her children, and the cowboy fully settle into their life at the ranch, transformed by trust, love, and shared resilience. The widow smiles freely now, her laughter echoing across the fields as she moves with confidence and grace, no longer weighed down by fear or hardship. The children thrive in the safety and care of their new home, learning, playing, and growing under the cowboy's watchful, protective eyes. The cowboy, once a solitary figure, feels a profound sense of fulfillment and purpose, knowing that his intervention has given this family a future they could never have imagined. The ranch, once merely a place of work and routine, has become a sanctuary filled with warmth, joy, and the quiet rhythms of daily life that nurture both hearts and spirits. Together, they face life's challenges with strength and unity, having forged bonds that cannot be broken. The story closes on a scene of serene contentment. The sun sets over the rolling hills, casting a golden glow across the ranch as the family gathers around the fire, sharing stories, laughter, and quiet moments of gratitude. In this new beginning, they have found not just shelter, but hope, love, and the enduring promise that no one is truly alone when compassion and courage guide their path.